Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This is monkeying around. It's a monkey wrench variation. Finishes at 12 inches. Here's the diagram, and here are 4 blocks set block to block. This is a 3x3 irregular grid. The grid spaces in the corners are bigger than the grid spaces in the sides and the center. So that's what makes it irregular grid. This is also a block from the Stitch Pink 2020 quilt from Moda Fabrics, and there will be a link down here at the bottom for you to get to this pattern. Here are the patches. Patch A is a 2.5 inch finished half square triangle. We cut 3 3/8 inch squares, cut them in half once on the diagonal for 2 patches. We'll need 12 patches for the background and 4 patches for the dark fabric. These go in the corner units, and they make this cat's cradle unit. It has a half square triangle and then 2 small triangles and then a larger triangle. Patch B is a 2 inch by a 2.5 inch finished rectangle. We cut 3 inches by 2.5 inch rectangles. We'll need 4 patches for the background and 4 patches for the dark fabric. These are the side units. There are 4 side units. Patch C is a 5 inch finished half square triangle. We cut 5 7/8 inch squares, cut them in half once on the diagonal for 2 patches. We'll need 4 patches of the light fabric. And this is the large triangle in the cat's cradle unit. And patch D is a 2 inch finished square. We cut 2.5 inch squares, and we need 1 patch of the background, and that is this patch here, which is the center unit. Here are the fabrics I've chosen. This is the background fabric. These are the B patches that go in the side units. This is the center unit, the square. And these are the patches we need for the cat's cradle unit. And it will be put together like this. And this is the cat's cradle unit. We've cut these pieces larger so we can trim them down later. We'll start by piecing the half square triangles, and we're going to trim this down to 3 inches. And then we'll stitch these side pieces on, and then we'll stitch this large triangle to this large triangle. We'll take our 4 light A patches and 4 background A patches and make 4 half square triangles. The half square triangles are done. Now we're going to trim them to 3 inches. I use my ruler with a diagonal line, and I place the diagonal line along the seam line. Then I check my 3 inch mark and make sure that there's enough to trim off on this side, and then the bottom part, there's my 3 inch. Then I check my ruler edges, and I have enough to trim off. So I can trim off every side of this half square triangle. Then we'll just flip this around and trim the other 2 sides. Now you just line up the 3 inch mark on these 2 sides and line up the seam line with the diagonal line. And do that for all of your half square triangles. Next, we're going to take 2 of these A patches, and you look at the diagram on step 3 and place the fabrics just as they are in the diagram. So the dark side of the half square triangle goes here, and this triangle goes down here, and this one up here. So we're making a large triangle. To start with this right hand side, we want to line up these edges down here. So flip this over and line up the bottom edge and the side edge. And we're going to stitch a true 1/4 inch here. And I'll show you why after I stitch it. So a true 1/4 inch here. The reason I stitched the true 1/4 inch is because I needed a 1/4 inch from this point to the edge of the fabric. And then now cut off this nub Now we take this triangle and we need to match this edge. So flip it over and match this side edge here and the top edge. And we're going to stitch a true 1/4 inch on this side too. Now on this side, on this point, we have a 1/4 inch from the tip of the point to the edge of this fabric. And we can cut this nub off now. Now we'll take the C patch and we're going to sew it like this. Flip it over and match this side and this side. Try to get it as close as you can. It's probably going to be a little off, but get it as close as you can. So now I'm going to flip this over and just match it as best you can. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to match this edge and this edge. That will give me my points on these triangles when we trim it later. Now stitch a true 1/4 inch along this seam. Here's our cat's cradle unit. Now we're going to trim this down to 5.5 inches. I take my ruler and I'm lining up this diagonal line with the seam line. And then I'm looking at this point over here of this triangle and this point here. I want to make sure that I have a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here from the tip of the triangle to the 5.5 inch mark. And this one I need to move down just a little bit. Now I have plenty of room here. I've got a 1/4 inch here and here's my 5.5. Got a 1/4 inch here, here's my 5.5. And then I have some I can trim off here and some I can trim off here. There's more to trim off on this side, but to me it's more important to get these points here. So let's trim there and there. Now flip this over, match your 5.5 mark on these two sides and try to get your angle as close as you can and then trim. And there is your cat's cradle unit. So you'll make 4 of these. This next part is actually step 1. I just skipped right over it. We'll take the B patches and stitch 2 together like this. Press the seams open and you'll make 4 of these units. All of our units are finished and now we'll just put them together in the block. We're laying this out on the proppet board. And there's your block. Stitch the top units together, the middle and the bottom. Press your seams and then sew the rows together. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.